the whole story. And that takes time, and we Americans don't want to give time. We want to go from one thing to the next thing to the next thing to the next thing. So what's the answer? Well, I think, I was just thinking, we got to have a skill for that. So for example, you start telling something, and I start interrupting you. And you say to me, wait a minute, I haven't finished. Or and my latest one is, I say, do I speak too slowly? Because I start to say something, and I like to think when I speak. I'm an introvert, and I like to think it through and then say it. And so I start to say something, and the thing right in there, and I say, do I speak too slowly for you? You know, but I don't know what I'm not very successful sometimes. So it's learning the strategies for people not hearing your story, and then inviting people who are timid, because sometimes you'll have a whole table of people, and watch. There'll be some people you know they have good things, and just say, you know, I think, David, that you had. I see by your eyes that maybe you had an idea. Could you share it with us? You know, give them an entree. You know, it really does help. But with the bishops and priests, what I used to do is come back 4 times. I said, you know, Christine has something to say about that. I like Christine's idea. Could we entertain it? Let's look at Christine's. I did it over and over and over until I'm sure I was a pain in you know where.
Were you successful?
Yes, finally. Finally they got the point that that's it.
No, I just wanted to add that in the bishop's defense, not as if they need defense, but they had the wisdom to drop that document.
Yeah.
They just dropped the whole thing. So, you know, the answer to what happened to the document is exactly, they weren't ready to do what you were suggesting perhaps, but they did drop it. So we don't even have one. You know? I don't really have an opinion.
Oh, come on.
Okay, David, it's materialized now?
Yes, this is a different question. This is a question. It's interesting, there was a survey recently sent out to alums primarily and staff about the university ministry and what services it might provide. And I found it absolutely interesting. The level of passion expressed all the way on one end of the extreme to this religion has absolutely no place in an institution of higher education, to we need to be a very strict Catholic institution, and everything in between. And I noticed there was equal passion on all sides of the equation, which kind of reinforces my belief that this is true. And I see there's a spiritual side to the passion from one end of the continuum to the other. And this is a very spiritual place, and I know that people of various faiths and for lack thereof, sense and feel that spiritual presence here at Maryland. And my question to you is, how do you envision a university ministry in 5 years as you dream about what it might become? What is your dream, Sister Cecilia?
Oh, wow. Well, first of all, I'm a pragmatist in the local thing.
Yeah.
And I'd like to ascertain that we respond to the needs of students here, staff here, faculty here. And those needs are going to continue to change. They've changed since 1893. You know, they're not the same. We don't have an 18 to 20-year-old, 2-year-old student body. We have different needs. And we never had students from Iraq, I mean, yeah, come here in the sense that we have now. So that's the first thing. The second thing, I'm a dyed-in-the-wool ecumenist from a family whose dad is an Anglican, mom's a Roman Catholic. Most relatives are Lutheran, Buddhist, and every other religion and every other color, I might add. So I would like to, and that was one of our dreams, get the ministers especially, as a start, together to actually talk about theological issues that really impinge upon the situations in the Northwest, especially in Oregon. And I think if we can work together, that's very good. And then I noticed in that survey you mentioned that almost everybody, I think it was 87%. David would know more than I do, and maybe Sheila, but I think it was 87% who wanted us to address issues that are of concern to the human community from a spiritual standpoint. They didn't say religion. Some people think religion is the thing you ram down people's throat, but spirituality isn't. And I find in talking to people, most people are spiritual. In fact, some people are mystical, I find. You know, they're really spiritual. So I think that in 5 years, I don't know. The one thing they misunderstood, which was really interesting, we had trafficking on that survey. One of it was trafficking. And very few put down anything with that. Trafficking. And they didn't know what it meant. You know, trafficking of men for jobs and trafficking of women for prostitution and all those kinds of things. And so I realized that the vocabulary needs to be very clear and very synchronous with the experience of the students and others. That kind of hit it? Okay.